So the goal of this chat is really to explain the origin of Pandium to our audience and those working in the integration and ecosystem space, but also how Pandium is addressing an important market issue. And we heard a little bit about some of the pain points that inspired your work with Pandium. Can you speak more to why you thought this was an important market issue to address?
Yeah, so integration as a concept has changed and evolved over time, right? Like back in the day, large enterprises were kind of the only folks that were building interoperability between enterprise solutions. Now we have more SaaS companies, more point solutions than ever before. So folks are starting to think about this earlier in their life cycle. In addition to seeing this again as a lever for revenue, whether it's leads, co-branding, referrals, whatever, this interoperability is no longer just operational on behalf of a customer that is complaining that they want it. It's also a source of revenue and growth for companies. So when we look at how to solve that problem, the technical underpinning of all of this, companies typically have two options. One is build everything 100% from scratch. And by everything, I mean all of the infrastructure, the UIs, try to build in reporting and kind of all of that stuff, which can work at a low scale. So if you're a company, you're starting out, maybe integration isn't that important to you, you have a handful of customers asking for apps, building it yourself can be acceptable for that. But when you start to look at, hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of these apps running concurrently, there's a real like DevOps overhead, an infrastructure overhead that goes into not just keeping the thing alive, but also providing reports to shareholders, demonstrating ROI, making sure that there's still product and engineering resources attributed to it. So that's one challenge, right? On the other side, we've got what folks would refer to as iPaaS tools or like workflow management tools, which were really built for operations folks at companies, maybe not software companies, maybe software companies, to help them connect their tech stack. And when we look at trying to use one of those tools to solve this problem, there's a lot of challenges. One is the rigidity of kind of a low code UI. Another is this idea of scale. So just like all of the features that are necessary to, again, provide stakeholders with the details and data that they need. And then also there's just the developer experience. Those platforms are oftentimes too complicated for non-technical users, but frustrating for technical users. So instead of asking an engineer or a handful of engineers to learn a highly specialized skill and use a proprietary platform that they probably aren't happy to use, we have built a product that really kind of seamlessly fits into the way modern software companies build and deploy software, even though we still provide a lot of value in terms of the infrastructure and the things that engineers and products folks don't typically want to work on, which is the less kind of cool stuff about integration.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Cristina. For those of you watching, if you are interested in learning more about Pandium and the topics discussed in this interview, head over to pandium.com using the link in the description. And if you're interested in seeing some more videos of Pandium in action, take a look at some of the other videos on our channel.